At Patrick Air Force Base, Florida, 12 January 1963, Air Force Major General W. Austin Davis presented a rare, outstanding award to the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing, the first Air Force Merit Award to be achieved by a ballistic or space systems division unit during 9 years of space-age research and development. Quoting from the Outstanding Unit Award citation, the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing, Air Force Systems Command, distinguished itself by exceptionally meritorious service from 21 December 1959 to 31 May 1962. During this period, the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing was directly responsible for the major advancement in research and development testing of the ballistic missile as a weapon system and as a space booster. One of the critical turning points in our history was the ballistic missile flight testing and the development of the ICBMs into workable systems at Cape Canaveral. For, with very large Sputniks already in orbit, not only was the nation's ultimate survival at stake, but also our access to space. When the ballistic missile flight test program started at the Atlantic Missile Range, civilian contractor engineers and technicians checked out and tested all missiles according to standard military procedures at that time. This meant Air Force men would have been unable to get any practical ballistic missile launch and technical experience until the weapon system proved operational 2 or 3 years later. To correct this situation and accelerate military mastery of the complications of ballistic missile ground equipment as early as possible, on 21 December 1959, the Air Force merged existing military test groups into the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing. The direct purpose was to collaborate with industry in providing a strong military launch capability for Titan, Atlas, Thor, and Minuteman ballistic missiles, and for all space missions using Air Force boosters. Air Force crews at Cape Canaveral gradually enlarged their field of blue suit activities in the blockhouses and on the launch pads. Here the term blue suit refers to Air Force men who conduct tests on their own weapon systems. But on the launch pad, white coveralls are the uniform of the day. A Titan I was the first missile to receive an all-blue suit launch. A crew of 18 officers and 97 airmen manned all systems during receipt and checkout, erected the missile's 2 stages, and mated them with an all-new target re-entry vehicle that was carried in support of the Army's Nike Zeus anti-missile program. On 22 November 1961, exhibiting flawless competence at every station on pad and in the blockhouse, the Air Force missile men launched Titan J-22 with a no-hold countdown. Less than a month later, these same men repeated their historic performance with a no-hold launch of Titan J-23. These all-military launches, more efficiently conducted at less cost, marked the attainment of a greatly accelerated flight test program. In April 1962, Atlas 11F provided the test wing with a major challenge. The damage to Pad 11 threatened serious delay to the Atlas flight test program. Immediately, the training and skill of the 6555th Atlas test team paid off in repairs, replacement, reinstallation, and validation of all damaged ground systems. The 6555th's round-the-clock, 7-day-a-week operation resulted in saving $250,000 and a critical period of time. It also led to a keener understanding of the aerospace ground equipment systems that could never have been obtained by operation of the equipment alone. Another of the 6555th's major achievements brought to a close the Atlas Research and Development Flight Test Program at the Atlantic Missile Range. During pre-flight preparation and countdown of the last R&D flight test missile, veteran and young airmen moved with competence and sureness that came from intensive study and practice. The year before, they had achieved an unbroken chain of 21 successful firings. On 5 December 1962, this milestone Atlas fulfilled all test objectives and became the 10th in a new chain of 6555th ICBM successes. After first assuming full charge of a single ICBM Minuteman complex, the 6555th expanded the Minuteman team and took over launch responsibility for all Minuteman flight tests at the Atlantic Missile Range. The proficiency of the launch and maintenance team has been a vital factor in Minuteman's being able to meet the Department of Defense's urgent request to become operational a year ahead of the original schedule. In addition, the test wing's genius for cutting costs and meeting schedules is helping Minuteman to fulfill its reputation as the undisputed military most for the least cost. Minuteman is the Air Force's instant launch ICBM that pushes our ICBM force over the 1,000 mark and gives us an instantaneous salvo capability of unprecedented power. In the space research field, the NASA DoD Scout Space Booster was the first project to be turned over directly to a military test team for research and development testing. Scout's wide variety of solid propellant rockets can be stacked in 3 or 4 stages. It can boost from 25 to 1,000 pound payloads to altitudes from 300 to 85,000 miles. It can place a 200 pound payload into a 300-mile orbit. The men of the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing put the Air Force version of this multi-stage solid propellant space booster through its first 8 launches with phenomenal success. Surplus and salvage components repaired and integrated by the 6555th made up many of the indispensable consoles and checkout stations used in early Scout launches. Because of its versatility in boosting a variety of payloads at nominal cost, Scout will carry a heavy responsibility in space in the years to come. The 6555th Aerospace Test Wing also plays a vital role in preparing and launching the boosters that the Air Force supplies to NASA and other government services for space projects. The test wing's achievements in the space age include such space flight projects as Project SCORE, Mariner, Ranger, Tyros, Explorer, Pioneer, Mercury. For Project Mercury, the Air Force was charged with the procurement, modification, testing, and reliability of the Atlas vehicles used to boost the Mercury capsules into space. This specifically meant the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing and that group of the wing which bore the burden of responsibility for all systems go. The wing's performance received worldwide recognition and reflected great credit on themselves and the United States Air Force. The Air Force's swift advance into space action is marked by the succession of missiles that have been taught to fly at Canaveral. No other command has had such a succession of top priority responsibilities. For years, every launch has had to stand up to international scrutiny. the salty comments of critics. The test wing also conducts launches for the top priority Advanced Reentry Systems program that is underway to increase ICBM force effectiveness. The Atlas used was an off-the-shelf vehicle purchased for the job of sending its payload through the atmosphere into the Indian Ocean target area. This Advanced Reentry Systems vehicle is part of a vast Ballistic Systems Division program to provide our strategic missile force with second-generation reentry vehicles that can reach their targets despite any anti-missile threat an enemy can devise to destroy them. The primary flight objective was to test the penetration effectiveness of the slenderized reentry vehicle and an elaborate system of penetration aid decoys which were released during flight. The uninterrupted reentry data collected on this flight was the most obtained to date on any previous single reentry system test. It was an outstanding milestone in the Advanced Reentry Systems program. The 6555th picks officers and men from all AFSC centers, selected for their initiative and aptitudes in electronics, propulsion, controls, and related skills. The officers have added a new dimension to military management, combining top engineering competence with a high level of command drive and all-around know-how. A distinction earned by the Flight Test Command, but not widely heralded, is its extraordinary safety record. In over 1,600 missile launchings, there have been no fatalities. The launch facilities above and below ground are given white glove treatment. There isn't a spot, a machine, a console on any 6555th launch complex that could not bear the toughest engineering inspection any hour, night or day. The launch and dry run countdowns continue for hours and are step-by-step operations that can be interrupted and repeated as necessary, giving each airman maximum opportunity to learn. The Strategic Air Command's high regard of the operation was shown by sending selected men to the 6555th for first-hand experience at the launch pad. Early in 1963, the 6555th took over full launch responsibility for Titan II, the United States' most powerful and advanced liquid ICBM. Titan II's propellants require special handling. Fuel and oxidizer, tanked separately, can be stored aboard the missile indefinitely and ignite instantly when mixed. Titan II operational missiles are designed for launching from underground silos, singly or in salvo, in less than a minute. Vigilant Air Force management, expanding weapon system capabilities on a continuing basis, selected Titan II as the boost vehicle for NASA's Project Gemini, the two-man capsule which is to follow the Mercury program. Gemini will investigate the orbital rendezvous technique of space travel. Gemini and Titan III, an advanced military space launch system, will be new challenges for the 6555th Aerospace Test Wing. From these man-made islands in the Banana River at Cape Canaveral, early in 1965, the test wing is scheduled to launch Titan 3C, the nation's newest multi-million-pound thrust space booster. Titan 3 combines Titan 2 with a pair of giant solid propellant boosters, such as this million-pound thrust engine now in production in California. Titan III will be used for a wide variety of space missions, including development of maneuverable manned spacecraft. The men of the 6555th are masters of every complicated electronic and automated device and engineering operation of the ballistic space age. And in the great military race with time, they fight with their skills and heart to crowd every possible bit of reliability and readiness into each missile. And every ICBM and space flight test has been a multi-million-dollar profit or loss to the nation's political and military stature. These have been the trials and the tests that forged the officers and men of the 6555th into the much honored and the most versatile of all flight test commands, the men of the incomparable 6555th Aerospace Test Wing.